The shirt on your back has seen countries that you will probably never visit. Here in the US, we buy clothes to feel more attractive, to prepare for a change in seasons, or simply because we feel like it. Today, I will convince you to start shopping secondhand for your clothes. There are two main reasons to avoid supporting the clothing industry, and I will propose an easy and affordable alternative. First, I will caution you of poor working conditions in textile factories. Then, I will expose the environmental harm that textile factories emit. Finally, I will convince you to change how you shop for your clothes. Everything we have ever purchased came from somewhere, and our clothes are no exception. Clothes are typically produced in less developed countries because manufacturing is cheapest, where working conditions are the poorest. In the 2020 article published in the Journal of Labor and Society by Dr. Mateo Neal, a PhD in Latin American Studies, he states that Honduras is the leading producer for companies including Hanes, Fruit of the Loom, and Gildan Activewear. It is frequently assumed that industry brings prosperity to poor countries. However, Neal notes that the trade policies currently in place mainly benefit large North American corporations and Honduran oligarchs. Despite the thriving textile industry, there are 62% of households in Honduras under the poverty line. Factory work is low-paying and dangerous. Neal states that in Honduras, garment factory workers make less than minimum wage. In order to compensate, workers must produce at an intense speed in order to earn production goals. When wages are linked with production, a worker may come to work earlier, stay at work later, work through their lunch break, or even skip bathroom breaks, leading to health problems. Sometimes employees earn group bonuses where every member of the group must make a certain amount of clothing in order to earn the bonus. This is designed to pit workers against one another. Factories also exploit their workers by implementing illegal work schedules. Neal states that the Honduran labor code forbids workdays longer than 8 hours without overtime pay, yet garment factory workers work 12-hour shifts without overtime pay. Additionally, shifts can switch suddenly. For example, someone working day shifts may be switched to night shifts. When human beings are treated like commodities, their bodies and their psyches begin to break down. Neal references research by the Collective of Honduran Women in 2012, stating that 62% of garment factory workers have musculoskeletal disorders, 46% have anxiety or distress caused by their job, and 44% suffer with depression. A member of the collective, Maria Luisa, was interviewed by Neal in 2014. She said, "A worker makes up to 60,000 repetitive movements in a working day. This is why health problems in the factories are so serious. That is why there are workers who say they only step into the factory and they feel life flying away." Unfortunately, factory workers are not the only victims of the textile industry. The textile industry is a leading contributor to environmental destruction. In the 2017 article called Environmental and Health Impacts of Effluents from Textile Industries in Ethiopia by international academics Dottie, Stellmacher, and Simbata, on average, a textile mill uses 1.6 million liters of water a day. That water is polluted by up to 2,000 different chemicals used in cleaning, bleaching, and processing. A quote reads, "In most textile industries operating in developing or transition countries, wastewater treatment is non-existent, non-functional, or inefficient, leading to massive environmental pollution and health problems." The textile industry pollutes the air as well as the water. In the 2020 book, Recycling from Waste in Fashion and Textiles, A Sustainable and Circular Economic Approach, by researchers Pandit, and Mishra, about 10% of carbon emission in the world is through the textile industry. It is also the second biggest polluter of the ecosystem next to the oil industry. The textile industry emits the equivalent of 1.2 billion tons of CO2 into the atmosphere each year. If our clothes all came from somewhere before us, they are also going somewhere after us. On the US-based EPA website, on their page Non-Durable Goods, Product-Specific Data, it states that in 2018, over 9 million tons of clothes were landfilled in the US, and only 1.6 million tons were recycled. Despite the labor and the resources put into our clothing in America, we treat our clothing as if it is disposable. I hope you now recognize how factories exploit their workers and pollute the environment. Now I will reveal what we can do about it. Buying secondhand clothing is the easy and affordable solution for the everyday American. You can avoid supporting transnational corporations that never cared about anything but their own profits. You can save clothes from going into landfills. Buy used clothes, donate your old clothes, and have clothing swaps with your friends. Learning some basic sewing will help you fix small tears and put buttons back on. If your clothes are truly in tatters, use them as cleaning rags. The garbage should be your last option. If nothing else will convince you, it is so cheap to buy used clothes. Even an upscale consignment store will have huge markdowns compared with buying the same thing brand new. And remember to do what you're able. If you can't buy something secondhand, go for quality over quantity. Ask yourself, do I need this? Will I wear this? Will this be out of style in 6 months? Having more awareness of your shopping habits is an important first step towards building a more equitable world. Today, I have persuaded you to change how you shop. First, I cautioned you about inhumane working conditions in textile factories. Then, I warned you about the negative environmental impacts that clothing production has. Finally, I encouraged you to begin shopping secondhand and reduce your own consumption. Our forefathers consumed mindlessly and endlessly. We have a moral obligation to live differently. When I was 17, I stopped buying new clothes. It doesn't feel like a big deal to buy one less shirt, one fewer pair of shoes, or make one less impulse purchase. But over the course of 5 years, I have saved resources, prevented clothes from going into landfills, and withheld my money from corporations whose labor practices I cannot support. I have also saved myself hundreds of dollars, and you can too if you make the switch. In his 2005 essay collection, A Man Without a Country, renowned author Kurt Vonnegut writes, "We could have saved the earth, but we were too damn cheap and lazy. It is affordable and easy to buy fewer new clothes. What's holding you back?"